Happy Halloween, everyone. I've wanted to do this for a long time on my channel. Talk about some horror movies that have come out this year or maybe are about to come out or have just come out. But I'll be honest, there are some movies I wanted to talk about before I made this video, but I don't have time. And those two movies that I'll watch this weekend are X and Pearl. They're part of some trilogy that's going to be made. And I heard great things about those movies, so if you want to check those out, check those out. But I'll be honest, I haven't seen them yet. I'm going to watch them this weekend. But for now, there are three movies I want to talk about that you can watch on streaming right now that I saw over the course of the year that I didn't have a chance to review. And I thought this would be a good time to get caught up on some of these things. I'll also make a video about some other things I've seen recently, but these three movies just fit the Halloween spirit right now. I just want to get them over with, talk about them, and see what you guys thought as well. So let's get started. The Black Phone, starring Ethan Hawke, was a horror movie that came out this past summer, but is it worth a watch? After being abducted by a kid killer and locked in a soundproof basement, a 13-year-old boy starts receiving calls on a disconnected phone from the killer's previous victims. I finally had a chance to watch this movie last night, and I'm glad I did. I wanted to see this over the summer, but I guess I just didn't have time to. I think it came out at a weird time. The director has directed Doctor Strange, and I think they had creative differences when it came to Doctor Strange 2. That's why they brought in Sam Raimi. And because of that, we got The Black Phone, something that he wanted to make. He also made Sinister 2. I thought The Black Phone was a very good original horror film. And that's what I love about 2022. There have been a lot of original horror films this year. There's been Nope, The Black Phone, Barbarian, X, Pearl. There's been so many. And I'm glad that studios are realizing that that's what people want to see, some original shit. I love original shit. And The Black Phone is one of those movies. First thing I want to talk about are the performances. I think Ethan Hawke is great as the villain. He creates some very unsettling and suspenseful scenes, but I think all the kid actors in this film were really great. Some of the best kid acting I've ever seen. But overall, the film is filled with very suspenseful sequences and some great original ideas. Some ideas are very subtle, things you have to think about, the meaning of different things, the parallels to different characters, that sort of thing. And overall, it just was a refreshing original movie that kind of gave like a Stranger Things sort of vibe. Maybe it's because it takes place in like the late 70s or maybe even the early 80s. And it takes place in a small town. There's something spooky going on. I don't know. It just had that type of vibe to it. My only complaint with this movie is that sometimes the spooky stuff can come off as a little stupid. I think overall the film handles the supernatural elements of this film very well, but every once in a while there'll be something that's thrown in there. I'm like, that's fucking stupid. It rewards you for paying close attention to detail. It'll show you one thing, but if you paid really close attention, you'll realize it means another thing. And I love films that reward you like that. It's definitely a film that if you rewatch, you'll notice more things the second time around. So I definitely really recommend The Black Phone. It's on Peacock. Go watch it now. I'm going to give The Black Phone 8 Davey Days.
This is perfectly natural.
Barbarian, a new horror film that's got a lot of chatter online. But does it deserve all this attention? A woman staying at an Airbnb discovers that the house she has rented is not what it seems. That's all I'm going to talk about with the plot for Barbarian because it is filled with surprises. This is another great original horror film to come out this year. There's been so many already, like I said before, but Barbarian was absolutely great. I love this movie. This film has so many surprises, as I said, but I just think the setup here is done so perfectly. There are parts of this film where you expect it to go the normal horror movie route, but this film takes a turn that you wouldn't expect. And it's hard these days to make a film that really surprises you, really keeps you guessing on what's going to happen next. And I just think this film was beautifully directed. There are some incredibly tense scenes. It's one of those films I really didn't know what was going to happen next, where this film was going. And it's filled with some really great characters. I thought Justin Long's character was great. He was a fucking asshole, but he was hilarious. I love how he's just thrown in these really strange original movies that are really just fucked up and so out of pocket, but he does a great job in them. He fits very well in these films. And like I said, I won't talk about the plot too much or any spoilers like that, but I think overall, like The Barbarian and what's actually in this Airbnb and all of that is just done so well. There are some absolutely insane parts. There's some unsettling parts, disturbing. It will keep you sweaty. And I'm happy it's getting the praise that it deserves. I'm happy that a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people have seen it. And now a lot of people are going to see it now because it's on HBO Max, because it deserves it. And hopefully we can get more films like Barbarian, because this is one of my favorite films of the year. I'm going to give Barbarian 8.5 Davey Daves. Talked about 2 original horror films with The Black Phone and Barbarian. And I saw Nope this year. I'm going to watch X and Pearl. But now I want to talk about a film that isn't original. It's part of a franchise, and it's getting a lot of chatter online. And it's been pretty bad chatter, so it's something I've definitely wanted to talk about. So here we go. Halloween Ends is the supposed last installment of this Halloween franchise, of this Halloween trilogy. But how did they stick the landing? The saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode comes to a spine-chilling climax in the final installment of this trilogy. As I said, this film has been getting dragged online the last 2 weeks. And honestly, I didn't really have high expectations for this film. I thought it was going to be fucking terrible because I hated Halloween Kills. You can see my review. I really didn't like that movie at all. I think it was just a bunch of nonsense and a bunch of dumb bullshit. And so, like I said, I just went in the Halloween Ends thinking like, all right, this isn't probably the last Halloween movie. It definitely won't be the last Halloween movie we see, but I guess it's going to be the last one for a while. So how can they end this trilogy the best way they can? I'm going to say this. I actually didn't mind this movie. I actually kind of liked it. And I know a lot of people are going to be shocked by that because, like I said, it's been dragged online by critics and people. But I don't know. Maybe because I had such a bad taste in my mouth with Halloween Kills, I wanted something different. And this film is completely different from that. I won't talk about the plot too much because the trailer really shows none of the real plot of this movie. But I think that there's a lot of ideas in this film that match well with the whole idea of this trilogy and the original film. The idea of evil and how it takes different shapes. And I actually think this film has some great execution on some of the themes and ideas that they're going for in this film. I think that there's a lot of great build-up, a lot of great setup. They always use that term about subverting expectations when they talk about like a new Star Wars movie or anything that's really a reboot but that never really happens. I'm going to say Halloween Ends is one of those films I think actually does that. My expectations were completely subverted. There were many things in this film that completely surprised me. I think it's directed really well. I think there's actually a compelling story here. Now, the problem is that Michael Myers is barely in the film. And I can see why that would upset people. He's not really in it at all. And when he is in it, he doesn't do the Michael Myers things that we're normally used to. And so I guess if you wanted more of that, just go watch Halloween Kills. I'm glad that Halloween Ends was a different version of this Halloween story with actually some pretty interesting ideas. Now, I don't think this movie is great by any means. I think it's okay. I think it's way better than Halloween Kills. I think the problem with it is that it has some really great ideas that are executed really well, but then the last like 15 minutes, it's a bunch of nonsense again. Like really fucking stupid nonsense. And I just wish they stuck with that original idea that they were going with. And there are some pretty outrageous kills. Some are really fun. Some are really fucking stupid and comical. And like I said, this isn't a masterpiece by any means. I'm not saying this is one of my favorite films of the year. I don't think it's that great. It just surprised me in the grand scheme of these Halloween movies. I actually think it's probably just as good as Halloween 2018. And yes, I know that will surprise a lot of people, but you've come here for my opinion. And I really didn't mind Halloween Ends. I actually was surprised by it. And if you haven't seen it and you don't really want to see it because of all the shit you've seen online, go check it out and see what you think. And if you really don't like this movie, I completely understand why. But for me, it felt somewhat refreshing, which was very surprising for a new Halloween movie. I'm going to give Halloween Ends 6.5 Davey Daves. Those are 3 horror movies that I've seen this year that I haven't been able to review yet, that I think you should definitely check out. There are other ones as well too. I think you should definitely check out Nope. I love Nope. I thought that was probably my favorite horror movie of the year so far. And I heard X and Pearl are really good. I'm going to watch them this weekend. But those 3, if you want to watch them, The Black Phone and Halloween Ends is on Peacock. and Barbarian's on HBO Max. So please check those out. Let me know what you guys think. I am curious to hear. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Dave's Takes.